mentioned earlier in the show, Browns trade Greg Newsome and a pick for Tyson Campbell and another pick. Defense coordinator Jim Schwartz, what he likes about Tyson Campbell, the Browns' new cornerback.
Tyson's got size. He's got excellent straight line speed, timed well, and he has track experience. I mean, the guy's a former 100-meter and 200-meter state champ in the state of Florida, which will get your attention. He's a physical player. He's a good tackler. I'd have to say he probably wasn't a great fit for their scheme change. And he's probably, a little bit more of a scheme fit for us. He's a good press cover guy, challenges guys on the outside part of the field. Anytime you get a change in head coach, defense coordinator, GM, sometimes the decisions and things that they liked about a player's skill set in the previous regime might not fit, and I think it was that opportunity here. I can't speak for AB or Kevin. I know I'm up here, but they can go into the rational. We're excited about having a good player and a guy that's been productive in the NFL, and we'll try to get him up as quick as we can.
So the other thing about it is Greg Newsome's going to get himself paid because of the way he's played at corner. And there's some certainty in the cost with Campbell. And he does play man coverage and is more physical. I get what they're doing. And I don't think it was a salary dump. But the money that was paid to him by the Jaguars gives them a decent to good cornerback that can play press man.
Yeah, I think the scheme fit piece of this is important. He had sort of fallen out of favor in Jacksonville. New regime, obviously, as well, that they weren't the guys that paid him last year. And they're playing a lot more zone down there. And so I don't know that he was having the same success that got him the contract that he signed, which is notable. I do think he's a good fit here in Cleveland because of that. The Browns love to play man, as we know, in this Jim Schwartz defense. So I think that sort of is a positive. I agree with you. Like I think what I sort of felt initially when this all went down, as I was thinking about this, you have a player in Greg Newsome that's playing on the final year of his rookie deal, that fifth-year option, and all that money is guaranteed, but he was one of the only contracts. He might have been, honestly, the only contract on this roster that doesn't have any deferred or dead cap money that they kicked down the road here to pay. So moving on from him is instant cap relief for you if you're the Browns. I thought they might try to trade him in the offseason for that reason. Obviously, like you alluded to, he was playing so well. I think it got to a point where they were like, he's going to be due for a big payday. And so I think they sort of looked at it and said, this guy, he's probably not part of our future plans because we're not going to be able to pay him. How can we sort of maybe, meet in the middle and still find ourselves a corner that can be our number 2 corner, depending on what happens to MJ Emerson, who's also in a contract year and now won't play this year. So I think they were sort of weighing those things and trying to figure out what makes the most sense. And yeah, they didn't want to pay Greg, so they traded for a guy that they can pay at a lower rate because he's already locked in, and it's not going to cost him quite as much over the next couple of years. So it makes sense, I think, from all angles. I do think, though, there is an element to this where it's like, hey, you made 2 trades in 2 days. It's probably a sign that the Browns are at least open for business. I'm not sitting here saying they're going to have a fire sale and you might as well just start figuring out which guys aren't going to be here and who is going to be here and who isn't. But if they were thinking this way about the Greg Newsome deal and figured, hey, he's not part of our future, and that's the way that that's where their heads are at right now, if they're thinking about 2026, then you can bet that they're going to start looking at other guys who they don't necessarily think will be part of their future as being pieces that they can move. I mean, we're still 4 weeks out from the trade deadline, so there's a lot of time for these things to kind of come to the surface or come to fruition, if you will. I don't necessarily think they're done in that regard, but I don't necessarily think that this has to be looked at as a move that was like, hey, let's just trade off pieces and parts and throw in the towel. Because they got a player back in return who they clearly do think is part of their future. But I do think they are thinking about 2026 and beyond with a move like this as well.